Hello, I am Jill DeWitt, and with me I have Stephen Jack Butala.
Hello.
And we are the founders of parcelfact.com. And we have some exciting updates and information to share with you today and hopefully solve all of your problems between now and forever for finding any property, whether it's land or a house, you name it. But before we get started, if you would chime in the chat, please let me know that you can see us, that you can hear us. I want to make sure we have a beach Wi-Fi that's just some days it's kooky. We'll just call it that. What would you say?
Yeah.
Okay. And we have weather going on. I'm sure you can see, this is actually not a green screen. So we're just south of LAX right now at the beach, and the storm is just rolling in, and it couldn't be more perfect. It's just starting to rain. People are out there taking pictures. We get all excited, right? Because I hate to say it, there's a lot of parts on the East Coast. You're like, yeah, whatever. But you're like, move on. But for us, we get excited about the rain. So awesome. So let's, good. All right, we're checking our audio right now. I'm glad you checked in. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you, Erin. All right. So we are here. All right. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are here. Awesome. All right. So I am Jill DeWitt, and this is my partner, Stephen Jack Butala. And not only do we have Parcel Fact, we have I want to say a little thing, but we have a Land Academy and House Academy and several other products that we have created. But today it's all about Parcel Fact. So I want to talk about that. So what we're going to do today is, and thank you for joining me today.
Yeah.
Often it's me. So I'm really glad that Jack is here with me. And this is really kind of his baby anyway. So he's really going to show a lot of cool stuff. And we've made a lot of updates. So, but today what we're going to do is we're going to show you how you really can find the owner of any property in seconds. Also, we're going to answer any questions you have about Parcel Fact. If you want to talk about, we can talk a little about Land Academy or House Academy, or even just investing in general, if you have some questions on that. And then I have a very special day pass promotion offer that I'm going to share at the end. So for anyone who just found us, doesn't know what Parcel Fact is, and you want to test it out, I've got a really great deal for you so you can test it out. And we'll do that at the end. So this also is totally live, obviously, hopefully, or not obviously, I don't know, but it is live. It's not pre-recorded. I want to answer your questions. So I'm going to do my best to kind of keep an eye on the chat. So chime in, anything you want to ask as we're going through some things, you can say, stop, slow down. What was that again? Or can you tell me what that means? Just bring it. That's why we're both here, to answer these questions and to help you. So, but first I want to ask a couple questions of you. So I want to really get to gauge who's here and your experience level. So I want to know first, what is your current way of finding a physical location of a property? So please chime in the chat. Let me know what you've been doing. If it's houses, if it's anything, other than the normal, put in the address and see what pops up, Zillow, whatever. If you have a special thing of using, I'm kind of curious. And then if you're doing what we do a lot of is rural vacant land, where good luck, there is no address. It hasn't been assigned yet. I'd love to know what you are using. So let's see here. I'm looking to see if we have any comments. Okay, I don't have any yet. So I'm going to keep an eye on that, but that's what I want to know. Also, I want to know, what is your investor experience level? So I'm kind of curious, who's here? Are you in the business? Are you new to the business? Or maybe if you don't, how many deals have you done? That will help me gauge, have you done more than 5, more than 10, more than 100, then I can tell I know what level you're at, right? How many have you done, Jack?
16,000.
Thank you. So what's that? Are you pushing, would be funny, savant? Or
Yeah.
what's that? I wonder how many, how they say, it's 10,000 man hours or 5,000 years to be a pro.
Yeah.
So 16,000 deals is how many years?
I don't know. 16,000 since 1989.
All right. So that's like, you've got your PhD times 10.
Yeah.
in this. So thank
It
you.
was a lot harder to do it before Parcel Fact, that's for sure.
Oh, and that's the whole thing. So I'm gonna dive in. I know we want to get to seeing it because it's so good. So here's the deal. Many of us know how hard it is to find properties, especially rural vacant land. There's no address, and sometimes you don't even have a subdivision. You could find it with that. Many of us have had to get, back in the day, and even still, I'm sure some people are still doing it, resorting to plat maps. And I remember doing this too. It's so funny. I have a plat map on one screen and I have Google Earth Pro on another screen. And I'm looking and I'm trying to find the dip in the road and the river. And I think I got the area.
Yeah.
And that's just like, that could take you hours.
And even then it was just a pin on a map.
Right.
There wasn't lot lines.
Exactly. You couldn't really tell exactly what it was. So now we have Parcel Fact. So we are so excited. This really was Steven's baby. He developed this whole product. I'm so excited because we all needed it. Our community needed it. We needed it. And we want to share it with everyone here. And it's such an amazing tool that you can, and I'm going to show it here. You can put in state, county, APN. You can put in an address and it goes right there. And it's not just finding the property, but the attributes and the details.
And who owns it?
That we have at our fingertips.
What is it zoned?
Right.
Is it in a floodplain?
It's amazing.
All the stuff that Parcel Fact, we call Parcel Fact around the office our little miracle.
Yeah.
Parcel Fact in maybe one or two sentences is a tool to help you find property that doesn't have a mailing address. There's 150 million properties in the country and 3,144 counties. So it's a lot of data. The vast majority of that property does not have a postal address. The only reason properties have an address is so that the post office can deliver mail. And so this addresses the majority of property that they don't have, we're all very used to going to Google Earth to look up a house or a business. It's a lot more difficult to look up a rural piece of property.
Perfect.
And that's how it started. And you'll see in a few minutes here what else the site really has to offer and why it's so good for not just us, but a lot of different types of business owners.
Perfect. Well, let's jump in. Let's look at it. I thank you for your comments. I got some brand new people here, and I've got some people. I love this. Colin's case says, "Can we play? Let's find that land."
Yeah. We used to play that a lot.
used to be. Let's find that land. Jill's almost in tears. I go to you, and you just have to take it to the end for me. Thank you. All right. Well, let's jump in and look at Parcel Fact.
Jill gave me two examples to ask, and she asked me to discuss them. One is a very rural piece of property in Elko, Nevada. Elko is famous for having property that's very difficult to find.
Can we go back real quick? I'm going to cover one thing. Will you go up to the top and show us the coverage? Before
Sure.
we jump into this,
Sure.
I'm going to show you the site. I want to show you the coverage that we have, and then we'll show you how to fill it in and how this works. So this is updated now with 2019 fourth quarter and what's coming 2020. So you can see it's amazing right here what we have at our fingertips.
Yeah.
So this is the coverage that you're getting here, everyone. So thank you very much.
This is a county map, a national county map. The white areas are not yet covered by the API that is the back end of Parcel Fact. Parcel Fact and every other resource out there is only as good as assessor data. So it's not that we don't want to cover them. It's just that the assessors are so far behind in these counties from a computerization standpoint that we can't get the data to provide it to you.
But it's coming.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Yeah, it's coming.
Thank you. And if you would go, show us how you fill it in and got to that property. Just point it out, please. There we go. So there at the very top, you can see, you can click, you search by, you either search by the little house, you have a street address, or APN, you don't have a street address.
Right.
So thank you.
So in this case, I looked up Elko County, Nevada, the APN right here. And we got to Elko. and here's the property. Joe, why don't you explain? I know that you want to go through this and show some of the features, and you want to do it
Yes.
slowly.
I do. Thank you. So let me start by saying right when you put in the APN, it pops up with this box right here with just some initial information right away. As you can see, we've got the owner's name. We've got the parcel address. And as you can see too, I love this one too, because good luck. Section 23, township range, meets and bounds. You could see all that. This would be, we would have to get out a plat map otherwise to try to find this. There's no street address. We know right away how big it is. It's 10 acres. And there's the mailing address of the owner that owns the owner there. So then I'm going to I'll do this part and you want to do all the mappy part?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Click on this attributes and wait till you see what I've got here. I'm going to move it. See if I can, I'll just go real slow. So as you can see, I've got pretty much everything that I have, you have. So there might be information you will never use. You may never need the census tract, but you've got it. So you've got all kinds of things about the parcel, the formatted APN, the original APN, the subdivision, all the parcel information that we're talking about. You have land use, you have zoning. I'm going to scroll down here. You have the owner information. You've got the owner's mailing address.
For where the tax bill goes.
Thank you. I'm going to scroll down here. I've got all assessor information here. If I really want to know how they value it with the county, the land, if it was improved, we'll show you in a minute when we do a house one how different it is. The taxes that they pay every year, the tax year. Over here I've got, which is really great too, I've got the sale information. This is phenomenal. I know the document. I know it was a special warranty deed. I know the day it was recorded. So it was October 24th, 2005. The date they sold and recorded, so different dates, how much they paid, who they bought it from.
It's an interesting side note. Paradigm Properties, Jill and I are constantly in Land Academy and House Academy urging you to develop a buyer's database. Every time you take a property into inventory or you learn that it's for sale and it's a good price, you send an email out or however you manage that. Paradigm has been around forever and they should be in everybody's database. So if you Google them and try to find a contact name there, we've done a lot of deals with them over the years.
Thank you. Perfect. As you can see too, I've got a little more, got the legal description.
It's purely luck that you picked a Paradigm property.
That's hilarious. It's a random. I was looking at this property obviously for something because it was like way back in my history from like a year ago or 2 years ago. It's so funny. So love it. Now I'm going to close this up so you have an idea what this is. And I'm going to hand the mouse to you to show the mapping and the neighboring and the other awesome things. Thank you.
Over here is a key. And so you can look at satellite imagery versus just street imagery and a few other things, and I'll go through them. So this is the satellite imagery. One of the things that Parcel Fact is great for is very quickly finding out whether or not property has physical and legal access. This property, you can see there's a road here off of this main highway, and then some 2-track paths on the way there. So does it tell you for sure whether it's got access in this case? No, but my gut tells me you can get to it, which is good. This is the National Geographic map, which is what we opened with. This is a street map, and these are going to make a little bit more sense. When we look at the next property, is a house in Atlanta. So these overlays will be a little bit more clear on what they are. Here's a terrain. This is just flat. So there's nothing really to see here. And on the bottom, this was designed before we had this pop out. So this is just another way to look at this same data that's in here. Mm-hmm. And eventually it'll go away. And these are the GPS corner points if you want to actually look up the property in Google Earth. Let's do that.
This is exactly what we do every time a property comes in.
Exactly.
always have Parcel Effect, I know you do too, on my computer, open and running. And the minute the phone comes in, a call comes in or an offer comes in, I can pop right in either the address or the state county APN and look at it and make really some quick decisions and do a lot of due diligence right then and there with my seller on the phone.
This is really helpful for designing little videos when you go to sell property. So whatever you get excited about when you buy it is kind of what you should be excited about when you sell it. So you can see this is civilization here. And it's these little videos that you can see snow-covered mountains and the access point and some other things here. And that's about it. I mean, it's a simple little application. And then, of course, floodplain.
This is one of my most exciting things.
Forgot.
Yeah. If you've ever bought a piece of property and wondered if you're in a flood zone and then went to the FEMA government site and spent some time there, you know what I'm talking about. This is another game changer. What do you see what this can do?
So you can see these are where the floodplains are. This is probably a seasonal wash. And the keys here, 1% annual chance of flood, and it's all color coded. So, and it's interesting that there's all this farmland and crop circles in the
right where the water goes. Yeah.
This is not too flood. There's not too much flooding going on here.
Yeah. Hi, Collins. It doesn't have that you can search by GPS coordinates, just state county APN, and then you get the GPS coordinates.
Well, there's another way to actually look up stuff on Parcel Fact. So you have this. We looked up this property. There's two real important features here that we haven't talked about. But let's say you live in Boise. You scroll into Boise. We're going to turn the map layer off, or the floodplain layer. Isn't this interesting that Boise is in a floodplain?
Yeah, I love it.
And people buy and sell property every day there.
Isn't that funny? Yep.
The best feature of Parcel Fact by leaps and bounds. Let's say you buy this little house here and you go to resell it. And if you've ever been on our Thursday calls, you know how important this is. 50% of all the properties that are sold in this country, regardless of type, whether it's land or houses or anything else, are sold to people within a mile, physically located within a mile of the property. So what Jill likes to do is say, great, I have this property. We're going to go to resell it. I'm going to go click and see who owns all this other property and what their address is. And I'm going to contact them. Mm-hmm. We'll send what we call a neighbor letter that says, hey, we just bought this house. We're going to sell it, resell it for X. I wanted you to be the first to know. And so a lot of times we take this for granted about how powerful this is. I'm
going to jump to my house example.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it. I have a really good one I want to share right now. Okay. So hold on, because I have a perfect one. So bear with me 1 second.
There you go.
Thank you. Earlier today, I'm like, all right, I just need a house example. So I just went on. Atlanta. I pulled up Atlanta real estate, and there was a house that was just listed today. I'm like, this is perfect. And it's kind of funny because it's obviously a flip that somebody just put on the market and just finished their flip. So it's really cool. All right, so here is my example. And in a minute, I'm going to hand the reins back to Stephen, and he can show you. Let's look at the different attributes that I have here. It's amazing. All right. So you can see I have, again, all the same APN. Look at this account number. I have so much information. Sometimes the assessor will assign account numbers to properties, and that's to just keep track of them, taxing, things like that. Subdivision. I've got all the details on this property. The block, the lot, land use. Look at the zoning. Here's my owner. Here's the owner's mailing address, of course, which might be different from the property address. Super valuable. This is stuff I love, what we have here. Check it out. I've got the value of what the assessor values the property at. Here's what they value the land at, what they value the improved percentage, the house on it. Here's what their taxes are each year. It's amazing. Now over here too, this is one of the things I love. I look at this all the time. All right, so this house just went on the market. I want to know what the guy paid for it. Here it is. Here's a document number, book and page. Look at this, another special warranty deed. Recorded in, they bought it in, it was recorded March 2019. So I told you it's a flip. You can tell if you want to go look up this property, you can see. We could do it in a minute if you want, but it's clearly brand new floors and everything. They just cleaned it up, put it back out there. So they bought it for $140,000. Here's where they bought it from. Look at this. It was an attorney close. I love it. It gets even better. What do you see? What else I have? So I have the mortgage information. He pulled a mortgage on this for $112,000 when he bought the house. So he had X amount down, took out a loan on this thing just to flip it and clean it up and sell it. Quicken Loans. I know everything about it. I know the footage. Look at that. The lot is 60 by 175, 0.4 acres.
It's a nice big lot.
It is. It really is. It's nice. The original house was built in 1955. I have all of this information. I have the square footage on the house. I even know how many rooms there are and how many bathrooms there are.
Which is great for apartments.
Right.
Jill and I are buying apartment buildings right now, and you can see exactly how many, through the assessor data. Right. You can see how many bedrooms there are.
Right. So not to bore you with all this, if you're in it and you want to know all this, then we can do that. But but you can see if you wanted to know, is it brick? Who knows? Maybe you're doing whatever you're doing has looks like a half garage. I'm guessing that's what that means. I don't know her code, but you're in it, and you're a flipper. You'll know exactly what all these are. So
and how to manipulate it.
Exactly.
Michael Winkler asks, is it the same or similar to Parlay 2.0? It's similar. The backend data is, it all comes from the assessor, no matter how you slice it, but it doesn't have the spatial information. To very simply answer the question, it's similar. Parcel Fact does a lot more, and it's a lot cheaper and faster.
It's a good question, though. Really good question. All right, so that's kind of everything there. I'll let. I'm going to point out one thing. So here's what I do. So the property comes in, maybe I'm the renovator. Maybe I did the flip. Maybe that's it. And I'm ready to price it. Whatever it is, I want to know what the guys next to me did. One of the beautiful things about Parcel Fact is I can click on my next door guy and say, all right, let's see what's going on with this guy. Well, I can scroll down and see, well, shucks, this guy bought the house in 2002 for 104. All right, that's going to help me make some different decisions. That was a long time ago. Let's check the other side.
This person is also a very logical person to buy this house.
Maybe.
Very,
or maybe
very
they
logical.
want to sell too, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's check the one on the other side because I'm trying to price my property or whatever I'm trying to do. Now this one, look at this one, 2014, 56,000. I'm guessing that was just the dirt. Could be back. And that's so.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
I think it's just the dirt. Back then is what they spent for it. And then they did something to it. So I love this. This is one of my favorite things. And you could, like you were saying, Stephen, zoom out, zoom in. Gosh.
I mean, you can go to Michigan from here.
Yeah. Eastland Heights.
Wherever.
Okay, I wonder how expensive it is over here. Let's see what this property goes for. All right. All right. Now this one's $245. All right. It's a little bit of a higher rent district over here. And it really helps if you're doing what we do and you're sending out mail in areas and really helping, figure out. You could really sit down too. Some of the things that what Stephen does, not to get off track, but he'll do not only zoning specific, but really neighborhoods and APN scheme mailing. And so I can kind of figure out the APN scheme, figure out pricing using Parcel Fact.
And subdivision boundary lines. So it's real helpful to use that in conjunction with RealQuest or DataTree or Title Pro.
Exactly. You want to show some of them how the maps look on here?
So you can kind of see it. This is one of my favorites. You can really see the structure lines and the lot line as a percentage. So, you know, in a lot of urban areas, and I'm sure Atlanta's one of them. Well, I'm not sure, but I'm confident Atlanta's one of them. You know, there are building requirements and how much coverage you can cover a lot. And here in LA, they want you to cover it all. They want you to use the whole lot. It's not the case in most places. Street vector map. Street map.
Mm-hmm. I was going to answer a question. Michael Winkler asks, will it identify if a home is in foreclosure proceedings? It will not, but we have access to data that will do that for you if you want to.
Use it in conjunction.
Yeah, so you could, like we are licensed providers for houses. We'll use DataTree. You'll be using this where we can go and Jack will do this. Pull up a list, maybe if you wanted to do that, see what's, and then go to Parcel Fact and then find the property and get a good view of it and have them both open at the same time.
This is topographical. It's probably a little bit hard to see on your screen through the internet. And then, the old school, super old school topographical maps. So you can see the floodplains here. It's really interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
I know.
So looks like land is underwater from here. You can see it. See, this is really useful. So these properties are built right in a floodplain. So obviously Atlanta has some very lax building and zoning requirements. If this was Los Angeles, there wouldn't be, well, you can see how they worked around it here.
Right.
But if this is Los Angeles, the city and the county would have a lot to say about where to build and where not to build.
And maybe it just was older. Could have just been older homes, you know, and now they know.
Yeah, and that could be it. You know, in Phoenix, there's whole sections of property there losing ground, like going down. One area of Phoenix is 20 feet lower than it used to be because of the water table. Yep. So now it's created a flood zone scenario.
Exactly.
So this property was, this Parcel Fact was never meant to be everything. You know, it wasn't meant to be a place where you go get data to send mail out. Right. You know, it's meant the root of it is to find property that was once unfindable. Yeah. That's it. Now we added ownership, and then next year we'll add a few other features.
You know, the other thing I want to point out about Parcel Fact, which is great, there are other tools out there that you could get a center point. You can get the center point GPS, but nowhere else could we get the whole outline. So if you look here on the bottom right, this polygon, you can copy and put it into Google Earth. You get the whole outline of the all property, whether it's, because most properties are not 4 corners. Some are like 19. I've seen long polygons. It's all over the place. Yeah. Exactly. It might be a couple different parcels, but you have all the details. And so that, for me, this was a game changer. My life changed overnight when we had this. I could just put in state, county, APN, and it's right there. It's like, whew, done. Saves
Michael, the best
hours.
place to get foreclosure data, there's 2 great places. One's Realty Track and one is DataTree. I think DataTree is better. It's fresher, and we're licensed providers.
Exactly. I also want to show, so if you want to, keep throwing your questions in, and I'll toggle back and forth here. What I want to do, though, is I want to show you what my special is right now. So if you want to play with this for yourself, here's what you should do. All right, so here's the front page of Parcel Fact. Go over to pricing. Click. Normally, it's a one-day pass is $15. Unlimited pulls for the day, by the way. So however fast your fingers can type, do it. There's no limit. And then here's my special. I will show you. If you go to the discount code and you type in $1, click apply, you get, it's for $1. Okay, so it's between now, from today, through Sunday. So Sunday, I'm looking at my thing. Sunday, November 24th, go to Parcel Fact, click the one-day pass, put in the coupon code $1. It takes $14 off. So you get it for $1. Just have fun, play with it, use it, check it out. So now I want to open up. Do you have any questions about Parcel Fact, about if you want to ask about, what we're doing with it or what we do?
Or Land Academy.
Or Land Academy.
Or any land
or House
questions,
Academy. Investing questions, bring it. Happy to. Often it's me. It's nice that I have Stephen here with me. So ask away. I see hi, Nick Slager. Glad you're here. I see Jeanette. The ruler on there is not a drop and drag ruler. By the way, that ruler there is just to help you gauge distance.
Yeah.
We just added that ruler function. So you can see, is it 2 miles or 20 miles? So awesome. I'm trying to see if I have any other good questions here. Oh, he's great. Hi, Rolly. Looks like he's going to be joining us here real soon. Awesome. Glad you're here. Yay. Yep. Going to do this right now. Awesome. Good. I'm glad. Lee's asking about phone numbers.
Right. So Jill and I later next year are going to release a new product called Neighbor Scoop that will have that data. You'll be able to draw a polygon or a circle. It's going to be a different website altogether. What we realized after we did a bunch of research, we kind of did a little focus group scenario. And what we're finding out is that phone numbers and reaching people in a neighborhood are really, really positive things for, let's say, a convenience store owner or a pizza delivery company. So Parcel Fact itself, while it's valuable for us too, I'm using the beta of it right now to contact people who own apartment buildings. So obviously it'll be, I don't know how Jill's going to price it, but it'll
sit tight.
It's intense.
This is Parcel Fact. I love it. I'm so happy.
I was asked not to talk about that.
It's all good. You're fine. You're fine. But now you guys heard it ahead of time. That's what's coming. It's going to be amazing. Hello, Joanne. Isn't there so much competition for houses? I hear so many wholesalers are doing this. How many mailers to get a house versus land? Love it. Well, gosh, my current one, we just sent out a 17,000 unit mailer in LA County. It was very specific. And I took about 100, we're about 3 weeks in. I've taken to 100 to 150 positive responses, of which I whittled down to 30, to which we're going to whittle down to what we really want. So that's where I'm at. So I think still for houses, just regular old houses, really are 1,000 to 3,000 offers.
I mean, this mailer, we did a lot better than that. Right. It'll be closer to actually purchase a property.
Right.
It's closer to 1,500.
Right. So, but 1 to 3, if you just, I love gearing you up. If you do it all wrong, look at like 1 to 3,000 of the offers. So, and I tell you, I think houses are actually easier than land right now, because there are less people in the house market who do it the way we do it, because they don't get it.
We don't renovate. I mean, to this day, even in this Los Angeles mailer, the people that are calling us back said they never got an offer like that, ever.
They never got an offer.
They never got an actual offer with a dollar amount and a closing date on it.
Right.
And so there's a right way and a wrong way to do this. Yeah. Yes, there's a lot of competition from people that don't know how to do it.
That's true. Well, and I think the competition is, you know what? There's no competition because I'm not in that space. Mm-hmm. I'm only dealing with the seller. If I was just another renovator and I'm trolling the MLS and I'm looking for something there, sure, there's competition. I'm under the radar. I'm down here. I'm sending offers to the sellers before they get to the MLS. So no one's competing with me.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. And this is, like I said, this is even easier for me right now. The response I'm getting on the house mailers and the house people, they don't understand it. So what I'm doing is I'm selling to those people and they're like, this is great, Jill, because I'm feeding them an off-market deal because it's not on the MLS. And that's what everybody wants. We're the bird dogs down here. Yeah.
So it really depends on pricing. So for this last Los Angeles mailer we sent out, we priced it at 70% of the algorithm pricing. And for land, we go in at like 20%. It's way cheaper than the algorithm pricing or the retail pricing, let's just call it. So, but we still get, I mean, I think it's probably for land, one out of every last mailer we did, we bought, man, a lot of property. So it's probably closer to one out of every 800, but you're buying it at 20% of the value instead of 70%.
Yeah. So what is it? Will asks, what are some effective ways to build a buyer's list? You're doing one for me right now.
Yeah.
Will you please explain what's your best practices for Will to build a buyer's list?
Buyers.
I'm glad you're thinking that way too, by the way.
So you pull the data to do a mail campaign, and within that data set are a tremendous number of LLCs, especially in an urban market like Los Angeles. And so you do the research to find how to contact those people. Either send them a letter, which we call a neighbor letter, or you can get really into it and dig deep and try to get contact information and phone numbers and stuff like that, because we've got those resources now. And it's not, you're not too long from having an unbelievably kick-ass buyers list, if I can say that on Facebook.
Once you sell on a mailer too, because this is what happens every time, there's going to be several people that you send offers to that call you back that say, hey, I'm not selling this one, but now I know how you work. Would you please put me on your buyer's list? That happens to me all the time too. They're like, all right, they'll have a 3-minute conversation with me and like, how'd you price this? How are you getting these deals? And I'm like, I tell them, and then they're like, all right, we need to talk, because they're like, I want to be in your world. Can you feed them to me? Sure. And that's another way. And then it just starts going. It's not hard. What are some other questions here?
House Academy is exactly where to go to find all this out.
Yes. Go to houseacademy.com.
Land Academy for land.
Exactly. Timothy, and thank you, Jim. That was a great question. Perfect. Timothy says, I have a client in my day job who's looking for land for his glamping trailer startup. We have a member that does this.
What's glamping?
Glamping. A glamping trailer. It's like camping it's fancy camping.
Oh, glamour camping.
Yeah. It's like you're not really in a tent. You have some nice things out there. So yeah, glamping startup. And I'm thinking about using this to find him the land he needs to lease. Yep. Buy it.
This is perfect.
Lease it, cash flow, sell it later. Yep.
That's it.
You are perfect. That's a great way to do this. Maybe this is a catalyst towards Land Academy world domination. I love it. Jay Miller asks, are strong markets per area specified are shown in software? How do markets apply to land?
Yeah, so we teach a red, yellow, and green zip code test. So before I send out a mailer, I obviously research the areas that I think where mail would go. The example I constantly use is Mesa, Arizona. So Mesa's got, I think, 9 zip codes. And I take a look at the Redfin data that you can download, and I pit those zip codes against each other to see which ones come out from an attraction standpoint regarding days on market. How many properties are listed in that zip code as a percentage of all the properties that could be listed? Better be way, way, way less than 1%. Days on market better be way less than 30. And these things move around a little bit. So there's a couple other statistics that there's a lot of stuff that goes into this before you ever send out the mail. It's because once you buy these assets, you want to sell them fast.
That's perfect.
I think that's about it. For land, it's a different version of it, but it's the same concept.
It's good. And the thing too about it, Jay, is that when you're sitting down looking at an area, maybe you know that they're putting in a Toyota plant near you or something like that. I don't know. Some growth is coming, or you've read about something. You're going to go look at an area and you start to put these together. 2 or 3 zip codes is what, always just the cream rises to the top. Right away, oh, I know I'm going to send it to these 3 zip codes. I'm going to ignore those 10 because look at these 3, like we've talked about, parts of the country have less than 7 days on market on an average for a month. So, right away, if you look at that area, you're looking at the zip code, it's less than 7 days. You also see a trend. This is because Steven's the pro here. You see the trend that, wow, every month, fewer and fewer houses are available to sell. There's your indicator. So it's stuff like that we look at. And great questions.
These are great questions.
These are great questions. We're happy. This is what we do. This is what we share. So Lee says, I see how you can see an LLC and Parcel Fact. Search what properties they own and dates and see if they're flippers. Yeah, when you download your data and you're sending out mailers, you're going to see there's 5 or 10 or however many that you pulled LLCs that they own 10 properties and they all acquired them in the last 90 days. Pretty good indication what's going on there.
Yeah.
They're buying it up for some reason. So there's your buyers. It's really good. Rick asks, thinking about investing in land to build a home, but other investors say land is not a good investment right now because construction cost is too high.
Well, other investors are wrong.
Yeah.
My whole professional life, I have been running into an incredibly seasoned and wealthy real estate investors. A lot of them are older than me, and they all say the same thing.
Yeah.
Why would you ever buy land? You can't make any money on land. I've heard it all. Well, turns out you can make some
Turns
dough.
out you can. I don't know. We only have, I said this the other day on a show, 16,000 transactions. We're still testing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. Good question. Araldo says tons of house investors are skip tracing lists. Yeah. Okay. I love this question. Thank you for bringing this up. Okay. Tons of investors are skip tracing lists and just calling the owners to see if they want to sell. Do you think that's a good strategy versus mailing offers? We had this exact discussion. We were on someone else's show. I can't remember the guy's name right now. Remember his name is initials. Anyway, we were on his podcast a couple weeks ago. And this is exactly what he does. He said at the end of the show, he's like, I need to redo my business model and look at this because here's why. He said, I do these lists. I have a room full of people that are doing this. And what they're doing is they're building rapport first. And they spend hours and days and weeks building rapport with these sellers to ask if they want to sell. Then, if they found out they want to sell, now we got to talk about the price. He's like, this takes so long. He's
It's
like,
backwards.
Yeah. He's like, you guys are doing this right. You're sending out all these offers to blanket a whole community. And then they stare at your offer and then they call you. And then the only last thing you have to do is to create the rapport and buy it. I'm like, yep. And so this is stuff that takes him, 2 hours on a Sunday,
To send out 20,000 offers.
Exactly. And then our phones ring 2 weeks later with only the people that want to sell.
They weed themselves out.
So much more effective.
They get the letter, the offer. It's for 70% of their house value.
Right.
And because there's something going on in their life, we call it a life event.
Yeah.
They choose to sign it and send it back or call Jill back and say, I know my house is worth $1.5 million. And I know you sent me an offer for 900,000. If you take $1 million, we can probably do it. You caught me at a great time. I need to move back to, I just got a new job in Boston.
Right.
It's always some version of a life event. I can't imagine staffing or making 17,000 phone calls to find that guy.
That was my whole point. Can you imagine that's what I told him. I said, okay, I just got through 17,000 units. He's like, and it was, how long would that take you to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Make all those phone calls and skip and to get their phone numbers and to try to catch them and try to catch them on the phone. It's just
calling
crazy.
On the phone, or once you buy a house or you buy a piece of property, calling people or texting them is a great way to sell it.
Right.
You only have to make 20 to 50 really close neighborhood letters / calls / texts to get somebody to buy the house or the land usually.
Did you pull this up? Hey, Will, the answer is yes. So,
it's not, they can't see our screen yet.
Okay. I'm going to toggle back over here.
There we go.
All right. Perfect example. So this is probably one of ours right here.
It's not actually.
Okay.
I intentionally didn't.
Okay, good.
Didn't pull up one of our deals.
All right. So, where's your? Will asks, does Parcel Fact give zoning use, such as zoning for mobile homes? So the answer is yes. So if you go, I clicked. I have a property here. This is LA County. Here's the APN. Here is the. Wait, I'm going to scroll down to the zoning.
You had it.
I did. I was going to show back. Oh, is up higher?
Yeah.
Excuse me, I went too low. Here we go.
There.
So right at the top, under personal information, zoning, LAR3. So LA and then residential,
Residential
3.
3.
There you go. Land use 151. And it's very easy. Most counties, it's a 2-second Google search to get, it's anywhere from a 3 to 16 page document that tells you exactly what R3 is, and the setbacks and the height restrictions, the lot size, whatever you need, it's right there. It's an excellent question. And I use that. We use that all the time right now.
We use it all the time for mobile homes in Arizona. We use this tool exactly for what you're asking.
Well, so and what we do, so I love this question because we all love mobile homes, right? It's a thing. It's I don't want to talk about it too much because we don't want the word to get out. Just kidding. But it is a big thing. But we look at it like we'll go into the county and look up what zoning will allow for mobiles. That's what we'll call it, and then we're going to mail, when we download our data, we do it just for that zoning. So I already know. I don't need to send out the whole, Dallas, Texas. I don't need to blanket the whole, city and let what comes back to me and then sift through and check the zoning and see if it's going to work. I'd rather go in and send only offers to the ones that I know that will work.
That's right.
At the right zoning, at my price.
Exactly.
And then they call me back. And then I jump in Parcel Fact. I look it up real quick, make sure it really confirms, it checks my boxes. Is it really what I want to do? And now I move forward. It's that easy. This
happens with a very predictable and consistent return rate. So you can almost look into the crystal ball when you send these mailers out. Our big challenge was in the past having access to the tools to say yes or no. Yeah, we want to buy it very quickly, and that's what Parcel Fact does. Right. It fills that gap.
Exactly. Really, really good. Then do you wrap the loan for houses?
No.
It's a good question. Nope, we don't.
We're cash in, cash out.
Exactly. That's a good question.
We don't wrap anything. We used to.
Right.
It's too cash intensive and time consuming, and people flake, and
we've moved these deals so fast.
Yeah.
It's too easy just to, like I said, cash in, cash out. That's what we do. So good questions. All right. I think we covered it. So thank you. Glad you are here. Thank you for spending the time with us. I'm Jill DeWitt.
I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
We are Land Academy, House Academy, and Parcel Facts. So check it out.
Yep. Thanks very much, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you.